So vision is one of the first senses we're going to look at here in this class. So what is vision? What is it? What are we responding to? What are neurons actually responding to and detecting when it comes to visual perception? Well, you know, there is, of course, a lot of energy that is surrounding us, right? There's various forms of energy, and one form of energy is something we call electromagnetic radiation, right? And electromagnetic radiation, physicists will tell you, can be described both in terms of particles, right, that carry, you know, particular energies, but also it can be described in terms of waveforms with particular energies. So electromagnetic radiation, the entire spectrum, sort of starts with very low frequency and kind of low energy waveforms and extends all the way up to very high frequency, very high energy waveforms. And what we are capable of detecting is only a very tiny narrow band of electromagnetic radiation that corresponds to visible light. Actually, it goes from the sort of higher energy waveforms that are associated with sort of violet light all the way out to the lower energy sort of waveforms within that tiny little spectrum that correlates with perception of red light, right, or of a red perceptual sort of experience. And we typically talk about the electromagnetic energy that corresponds to the visible light spectrum, you know, from violet out to red, as being carried by what are called photons of light, right? These are particles that actually carry this electromagnetic radiation within the visible light spectrum. And what's interesting about this electromagnetic radiation is that, you know, typically a lot of objects absorb, you know, certain wavelengths of visible light. So if you see something, you know, with a color, that actually indicates that the other wavelengths that correspond to other colors have actually been absorbed by that object. They've actually sort of taken it in, you know, and the way they do that, you know, energy is neither created nor destroyed, but it can be converted from one form to another. So it can be converted, for example, into sort of heat energy. When the sun shines on you, you know, for example, you absorb many wavelengths of light and you warm up. But what the light that you're going to see, the actual kind of photons that are reflected back, are the ones that the object did not absorb. So, for example, plants are green because they absorb most of the other visible wavelengths of electromagnetic energy that correspond to visible light, but they reflect back green, right? So your eye really extends, you know, your brain basically into the, you know, into the energy that surrounds you, and picks up a very selective, you know, portion of those energies because of the presence of very specific detectors that we're going to see are found in the eye.